You may find it difficult today to associate the name Partenavia with any specific product, but the reality is that since the middle of the last century, and approximately until the beginning of the 1990s, it was a renowned Italian aircraft manufacturer, originally specializing in products for general aviation. The company was founded in 1957 by the renowned Italian aeronautical engineer and designer Luigi Pascale under the name Partenavia Costruzioni Aeronautiche. The 1980s were the most fruitful decade for the company, which was acquired by the aerospace company Air Italia in 1981. Following this acquisition, they focused their efforts on the production of two multi-purpose transport aircraft ideal for any type of mission, both with twin-engine equipment, being the P-66C Charlie and the P-68 trainer aircraft. And both models were commercially successful, especially the P-68, which proved to be extremely versatile and functional. The first P-68 flew in 1970, with production starting a couple of years later. Since then, the model has evolved and managed to maintain its relevance. Although Partenavia ceased to exist as a brand, the aircraft manufacturer Vulcanair acquired the patents and continued with the production and development of the P-68 legacy. We're going to see everything related to this aircraft, and at the end, you will form your own judgment about it. Looking at this beauty, what do we have here? For starters, this airplane is sleek. The fuselage has a smooth, rounded shape, and the cockpit windows are large and provide excellent visibility for the pilots. The engines are mounted on the wing, which adds to the aircraft's streamlined appearance. Overall, the P-68 has a timeless look that has stood the test of time. This plane measures 31.3 feet long, has a height of 11.5 feet, and a wingspan of 39.4 feet, and a wing area of 200.2 square feet. This bird is a high-wing monoplane with a quite traditional design that is totally functional and aerodynamic. Although it does not have the curves and pronounced lines that some of the most recent aircraft have, the optimum performance in the air of this family of aircraft with more than 50 years behind them is a total guarantee. On first sight, its pronounced nose, high underwing engines, and fixed landing gear stand out, even though more recent versions can incorporate a retractable landing gear depending on the customer's requirements. Its structure has been manufactured in special corrosion-treated aluminum, which provides structural simplicity, protection against the elements, and significantly reduces manufacturing costs thanks to the use of aluminum. The interior of the Partenavia P-68 is designed with comfort and functionality in mind. The cabin is spacious, with room for up to 6 comfortable seats and huge legroom. The cabin also features large windows that provide plenty of natural light and great visibility for passengers. The cockpit of the P-68 is well organized and equipped with the latest technology, including avionics and navigation systems, to make flying as safe and efficient as possible. Since these aircraft are specially designed to perform observation and reconnaissance missions, aerial surveillance, maritime patrol, search and rescue, and even transport, from the first models, they have had a simple interior with compact seats to ensure better use of space, but still be comfortable. Therefore, bearing in mind the type of operations for which the P-68 was developed, it is certainly not necessary to expect any type of luxury or excessive comfort. This gives it a wide margin of maneuverability, as if it were a kind of giant Lego, and it is possible to make the most of space depending on what is needed, either to carry more passengers or to prioritize the transfer of equipment or merchandise. The Partenavia P-68 is powered by two 200-horsepower Avco-Lycoming IO360 engines with two-bladed constant-speed Hartzell propellers in front, which allows it to reach a maximum climb rate of 1,000 feet per minute, which is not a lot, and achieve a service ceiling of 18,000 feet. The useful load is 1,375 pounds, and while loaded, it is capable of a maximum cruise speed of 175 knots with a maximum range of 1,250 nautical miles. The best part is that it can take off and land with only 787 feet of runway. However, the optimum takeoff and landing distances for this aircraft are 1,313 feet and 1,969 feet, respectively. The P-68 features a glass cockpit that integrates a SEGAM engine monitoring system, integrated Garmin GNS530W and GNS430W, GMA 347 audio panel, as well as a Garmin GTX 330 Mode S transponder and a PAC24 audio panel. The entire avionics suite is complemented by S-Tech 55X Autopilot, as well as an AXI 200 altitude and heading reference system, analog to digital converters, and KN63 distance measuring equipment. As standard systems, the most modern versions of the P-68 have a TAS traffic warning system, specifically the TAS 600, weather radar system, an AIS receiver, and some models integrate a special infrared video camera system. They are certified to fly in known icing conditions and equipped with a preheating system and improved vision to operate without inconvenience under any type of weather condition. As extras to complement the active and passive safety aspects of the aircraft, it includes high-intensity strobe lights, life jackets for the crew, portable emergency locator transmitters, a voice and data recorder, as well as the traffic alert and collision avoidance system. The price of the Partenavia P-68 varies greatly depending on the year of manufacture, the configuration of the aircraft in question, and most importantly, the state in which it is. At the time of this writing, I saw a 1974 model for about $100,000, for brand new. This plane can be bought for $430,000 for its base model. Putting the P-68 face-to-face with two of its direct rivals, the Cessna 310 and the Piper PA-34 Seneca, both twin-engine aircraft manufactured in the United States. In terms of useful weight, the Cessna and the P-68 are the best positioned. The first achieves a useful weight of 1,999 pounds, while the second reaches 1,375 pounds, and the Piper PA-34 Seneca is only 991 pounds. This is mainly due to its size, since it is the smallest aircraft of the three. It is precisely this aspect that makes the Piper PA-34 Seneca the fastest aircraft of the three, reaching up to 205 knots, as well as a service ceiling of 25,000 feet. The Cessna 310 is in second place with a top speed of 191 knots and a service ceiling of 20,000 feet. The P-68 comes last, with a top speed of up to 175 knots and a service ceiling of 18,000 feet. These are undoubtedly the sections in which it suffers the most with respect to its rivals. In terms of range, the P-68 is the best placed, being able to exceed 1,150 nautical miles, while the Cessna is at 834 nautical miles and the Piper PA-34 Seneca at 749 nautical miles. However, it is necessary to take into account the budget for the maintenance of the aircraft. With a theoretical use of 450 hours of flight per year, the Cessna 310 would require an annual maintenance budget of $293,000, with a flight cost per hour of $653. The Piper PA-34 Seneca would need an estimated $283,000 per year for its maintenance, and the cost per flight hour would be $630, very similar to the Cessna. For its part, the P-68 comes out incredibly well positioned in this section, since, for the same annual flight time, it would require for its maintenance a budget of $152,000, and the cost per flight hour would be about $338, almost half of the other two aircraft. As far as maintenance costs are concerned, the P-68 is the undisputed winner, and if we make a ratio between the total price of the aircraft and the annual maintenance cost, it also emerges as the best option. In spite of this, the number of aircraft it has managed to commercialize has been quite low. According to the latest figures, since the launch of the Partenavia P-68, less than 1,000 aircraft of this family have been marketed, while in the case of the Piper PA-34, more than 4,500 aircraft have been built, not to mention the Cessna 310 with its more than 6,300 units sold. This is undoubtedly a clear example of how little the P-68 was able to influence or compete in the large markets, despite having a better cost-benefit ratio than its rivals and fairly even specifications. From now on, it's up to you to decide. The P-68 has a low operating cost, which has made it popular as a multi-purpose aircraft ideal for practically any type of mission. Having a high wing allows it to offer excellent vision to the exterior, thus facilitating the development of surveillance and observation tasks. Depending on the variant, it can have the capacity to launch a rescue raft as well as perform low-profile flights for search and rescue tasks at sea. Another important advantage of the P-68 is that it is an aircraft capable of short takeoffs and landings, as well as of operating on irregular runways, such as dirt or grass. Its corrosion-resistant aluminum construction gives it a high durability rating and makes it easy to maintain and repair. At first, Luigi Pascale conceived the P-68 as an aircraft for private use, But with the passage of time, its most popular use has not been this. Instead, today you can find some Vulcanair P-68s in charter companies. The most negative aspect of the P-68, and perhaps the only one to be considered, is in its fuel capacity and speed, as it is not exactly a fast aircraft. But to be honest, it is not something that I miss too much, as it has been able to compensate for this by being a stable and docile aircraft when flying. Maybe the other great negative part of the Partenavia P-68 is precisely in its roots. The fact that it is an aircraft of Italian origin limited its popularity and made its arrival to other markets much slower than that of other models of rival companies that were more traditional and known in markets of greater consumption. It is for this reason that the P-68 can be safely categorized as an unpopular and misunderstood workhorse. And not precisely because it lacks merit or capabilities, because, as we have seen, it is a very reliable vehicle capable of facing virtually any task that is put in front of it. It remains to be seen if under Vulcanair's development, the P-68 series will be able to take market share from its rivals to continue popularizing the model. And who knows, maybe in another 50 years we will still be able to see the P-68 series aircraft taking to the skies of the planet. And in case you were wondering what the P in the name of the aircraft meant, it is the initial of the last name of the aircraft's designer, Luigi Pascale, which remained as a legacy in time, his legacy for aviation.